Home. There once was a boy who lived in a tree, alone on a cliff overlooking the sea. The tall leafy timber gave shelter and food. The boy knew that life in his tree home was good. Each morning he'd wake to sweet songs and smells, then play in the branches or hunt for some shells. And once in a while, with his back to the sea, he would look at the woods that surrounded his tree. A forest of green that covered the land, from high in the hills to down by the sand. The boy loved his tree, his haven of wonder, but sometimes he'd sit on the branches and ponder. How lonely he felt. It didn't seem fair. His beautiful home with no one to share. One warm summer night, on his cozy leaf bed, he gazed at the stars, then lay down his head. When tickling his ear, a breeze came along, carrying a voice with a lovely sad song. He sat up and listened and heard it quite clearly, a faraway sorrow for something lost dearly. He couldn't explain, but it made his heart break to hear of the distant and lonely heartache. Should I leave my home to follow the voice? I've got to do something, so he made a choice. With morning's warm sunshine swept onto the shore, a hollowed-out log, a boat with one oar. The boy climbed inside and waved to his tree, said one last goodbye, then turned to the sea. The ocean seemed huge, and he didn't feel strong, but he wouldn't give up as he followed the song. For one day and night, the voice led him on, and then there was land at the breaking of dawn. But as he drew nearer, not very far off, he noticed the land was all barren and rough. Brown leaves floated past, and at first the boy said, "Seems autumn's come early. These leaves are long dead." But soon many more leaves, then branches, whole trees, were floating around him and out to the seas. The land had been stripped, the trees had been tossed. Now, missing his home, the boy felt quite lost. He'd never seen such devastation before, but then he saw someone alone on the shore. A girl of his age, with dark flowing hair. It was her song floating up into the air. He jumped out to greet her. "I've heard your sweet song. I'm here now to help you. Please tell me what's wrong." The girl looked up sadly. "My home's gone," she cried. "The life that was once here has withered and died." The boy looked around, and he knew she was right. What hope could there be for this desolate sight? No bright forest green, but ugly dry land, from high in the hills to down by the sand. Defeated, he knelt, staring long at the sea, till a wave brought an object that splashed at his knee. He reached out to take it and rinsed off the foam, then smiled, recognizing the gift sent from home. "A sweet-tasting fruit from my beloved tree has traveled the waves and come to reach me." He turned to the girl and smiled as he shared. He wanted to show her just how much he cared. In silence they ate it, enjoying its taste, not wishing the smallest of pieces to waste. Then tiny brown seeds spilled onto the sand, and the boy placed them into the palm of his hand. He stood up and smiled as he started to see that this home was not lost. The seeds were the key. He ran down the beach while searching the ground, then called to the girl to share what he'd found. He showed her the places were scattered around. From trees now long fallen, seeds lay on the ground. She gathered them closely and said, "They're so small." He knelt down beside her. "We'll help them grow tall. For every tree taken, a new one will plant. It may take a long time, but this is our chant. A forest of green to cover the land, from high in the hills to down by the sand. By guiding the trees with patience and care, we're building ourselves a home we can share." The girl took his hands, a tear on her face, and she began smiling. "There's hope for this place." It wasn't so easy to finally achieve what the children had started to strongly believe. Through rainstorm and drought, with care and affection, they offered the seedlings earth, water, protection. They watched as the saplings grew up from the ground to share with their children and spread all around. Together they did it. It took many years, but through all the hardship, the sweat and the tears, great forests of green flowed over the land, from high in the hills to down by the sand. The boy, who had now become quite a bit older, strolled heavily through them, a child on his shoulder. He looked all around, such green space to roam, and family to share with. Yes, this was their home.